I don't know if the Antichrist is 7 years away or not, but I do know that the next domino towards the mark of the beast has fallen. I need to share some backstory with you first. I need to get you to think like a businessman so that you can understand this. So first of all, you need to know that businesses are buying up businesses. Corporations are consuming other smaller corporations. Like if you think about all the holdings that Coca-Cola has swallowed, or think about how many companies that Disney has consumed, you begin to see that there are not just businessmen, but there are ultra businessmen. And there is a difference in the way they think and the way the average person thinks. There's a difference between the way they think and the way that you and I think. And I need to explain that, or you won't even look at the mark of the beast as coming. You won't see this signal for the mark of the beast at all. You'll just look right over it. You won't even consider it. So with these super large companies, they have to find ways to invest all of the hundreds of millions of dollars that are coming in. They cannot just take it to a bank. From what I understand, you can start a bank, or used to be able to start a bank, for about $50 million. Well, when you have hundreds of millions of dollars, what are you going to do with it? Like start another bank to compete with all the other banks that are merging? Or should you just buy another business that is already making money, and your investment into buying that business, their revenues are like interest on their money to them? So that's the way these big, large businesses are thinking. Now, within that, the guys that are working in the top ranks, they can't always come up with knock them out of the park, stellar home run ideas. You know, someone like Elon Musk, when he comes along and has some fascinating ideas, obviously it draws a lot of wealth and attention to himself. But most of the time, breakthrough ideas take a while. It takes a long period of time to find those, nurture them, develop them, etc. And so there has to be other ways for businessmen to get ahead. And one of those is through the pursuit of efficiency. So these guys are looking for the tiniest improvements that they can make to a product to amplify it across their businesses. And these are a lot of times ideas that you and I would just flat out look past and not even think about. And we would just go on about our business. That's why I was saying the common guy doesn't think like the ultra businessman. The common guy wouldn't even much consider these concepts, and they would just move on about their life. So I'll give you a smaller example and give you a few other examples. So I know of a genius businessman who started his own car lot. And so, the whole point of a car lot is to make money on your cars. So this guy was just really smart. He was like, so I'm making money on the cars that I buy. And so what else can I do? And so then he found out that he could make money on top of the interest for loaning out the money for the car that he just sold to someone. So being efficient, he was like, well, I can be the bank for these cars. Now, a lot of car lots do that. But this guy also was like, well, to get my cars back, if you're a smaller company, you can be risky and do it yourself. Or you could hire it out to a recovery company, and they might charge $500 per car they pull back. And so this guy was like, we'll just do that in-house. Well, the story doesn't end there. The guy also, you think at some point somebody's going to just trash a car. And when he gets the car back, he won't be able to resell the same car. So this guy actually has a salvage lot where he begins to sell the parts off the cars that he sold, that he repossessed, that he now has. And if that's not efficient enough, then at the end of the day, the whole salvage yard sells off the metal. And so this guy, from the start of the process to the end of the process, is efficiently making money. He is approaching things from a way that the average person would not. Another example of this is several years ago, an airline company was like looking for ways they could make improvements in their company. And so they decided to remove magazines from the seats of the airplanes. Now, this might not have happened in the digital age. This was probably just a little bit before this. But the magazines were there for entertainment, and they had a magazine per chair. And, maybe you didn't like the magazine you were reading, so you could read the one beside you. But they decided, well, we're going to cut down on these. We're going to get rid of about 60% of these magazines, because what they found out is after you multiply that times 100 or 200 seats, that there was a lot of weight, and weight cost a lot of fuel per trip, per day, per week, per month, per year. And they began to save millions of dollars a year in fuel cost simply by getting rid of some magazines and looking at things a little differently, finding that little slight advantage in the market. Another example of this is, and I can't confirm this, and I just was reading behind somebody else, and I forgot what book I read this out of, but that the casino industry is built on a 1% advantage. Now, the common man would look past, like, if somebody's offering you a 1% advantage, you're like, okay, I want to invest in stock or mutual funds. I want to get 10% per year. That's the rate that helps me retire well, etc. And so we might not think much about 1%. But if you think about the money, the billions of dollars that are spent in gambling every year, you begin to understand that 1% advantage is huge. I mean, the whole point of gambling is to get people to gamble, so let them win as much as possible. And so if you let them win 49% of the time, as long as you're winning 51% of the time, then you're ahead of the game. So I got to get you to think like a large-scale business person for a moment, and think about the slight advantage, and then magnify that over a large scale, and you will see it's a huge thing. So this slight advantage that I just saw was that Starbucks, and I don't know if it was the whole chain or a Starbucks, but they have now proclaimed that they are going cashless or all digital here very shortly, like within a month or so. Why do this cash thing? Why manage cash? I mean, it slows everything down. Like, you can walk up there, blip, 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 and just about be done with the trade part of your order in a little of no time. Why even bother with that anymore? Like, why make sure that your cashier knows how to count properly when a computer can do it for them? Why are we paying for a cashier anyway? If you're an astute businessman also, you know that all cost and expense is labor. It's all labor. And you think, no, there's supplies and material. No, supplies and material comes from labor. We get it from raw resources. Think about this. So all of your expenses throughout the entirety of a company is just labor. So if you can cut down on labor, then you can make massive gains. And if you could cut a cashier out of every store, wait a minute, sometimes we have to have 2 or 3 cashiers. Or we have to have 2 or 3 cashiers for 2 or 3 shifts. If you can get rid of all of the cashiering, you can make some huge gains. And other businesses are going to follow suit. All of this is already happening, but this is the next domino. Like, we saw the checkout machines come in and kind of get rid of a little bit of cashiering job. Yes, there's got to be a cashier there to kind of monitor things and make sure the machine's not broken and put some receipt tape in there. But, we don't even need receipt tape anymore. And then, we saw that come in. Well, you better believe that, like, cash management costs time, and it's not just time per transaction. The tills have to be balanced every night. The safe has to be watched over and balanced. Money orders have to come in. You have to put deposits in the bank. It costs time, and time is labor, and labor is money. So let's go cashless and bank a whole lot of profit. When Starbucks follows through with this, and when they become really profitable, other businesses, to even stay up and to keep up with the Starbucks profit margin, are going to follow suit. Some out of jealousy, some out of efficiency, some out of just trying to stay in the game. And it is going to happen. That domino has fallen. You need to think about your participation in all this. Personally, myself, I'm going to try to slow it down, and I'm going to begin to participate in digital activities less and begin to participate in paper activities more. But it actually might be too late. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try, because if I control the paper that's in my pockets, then I don't have to worry about this eventual mark of the beast where I'm told I can't buy or sell. Like, if the paper is in my pockets, I control it. But if you control the button, kind of like the button on your device there that you're watching me on, you can turn me off in a moment. Well, this same kind of power is over the person that supposedly has money, and the mark of the beast or the Antichrist, he can step up and say, hey, Christians, you're either going to worship me, you're either going to be a part of this world system, or we're going to turn you off. You can't do that with a paper society, but you can do that with a digital society, one that's controlled by the very, very, very few. The next step towards the mark of the beast has happened. It is being broadcast as happening. It is being threatened, in my perspective, as happening. I thought you should know about it.